Welcome to Soulmate's Sanctuary. Addiction has a way of touching your life in some manner, whether it's a member of your family, a friend of yours, or even yourself. This is the case regardless of the type of addiction. You probably know someone who has battled an addiction to alcohol or drugs at some point in their life. It's possible that you are that person. But what about the addiction, which no one appears to be discussing? The dependency that we have made acceptable and actively encouraged in our culture, despite the fact that we are blind to the damage that it is creating. And this is not a discussion about an addiction to gambling or to sexual activity. The joy you get from binge viewing and continuously checking your alerts is only fleeting, which is why you need more of it all the time. Do you feel like you're being overstimulated? Do you ever get the feeling that you need the commotion and activity of the outer world to halt for a second and slow down so that you can catch your breath? If you are experiencing these feelings, there is a physiological explanation for why our brains were not intended to handle the excessive stimulation. The dependency that results from excessive consumption, the risky practice of buying and possessing excessive amounts of material goods. You will only experience fleeting happiness from binge watching and frequently checking your alerts, and as a result, you will always want more. On one end of the spectrum, this inherent drive is what kept our ancestors alive and encouraged innovation and better living circumstances. On the other end of the spectrum, this natural drive is also what can lead to addiction and the destruction of our world, particularly when talking about the addiction of overconsumption. What changes take place in your brain as a result of living in an environment that is substantially dissimilar to the one in which your ancestors existed? Your remote ancestors learned about breaking news through word of mouth or through the mail, but you are constantly updated on current events around the clock. You don't just have to be concerned about the news, you also have to be concerned about things like scrolling through doomsday scenarios and reading headlines that make you feel anxious. Previous generations never had to deal with problems like these. After the first location of Blockbuster Video debuted in 1992, watching television was no longer limited to a single evening at a predetermined hour each week, as it had been in the past. Because of this, families were able to enjoy valuable time together while watching television. There was a wonderful shop in which one could purchase hundreds of movies to watch on DVD or VHS. Cotton candy and the aroma of popcorn filled the shop, and the shop itself was filled with magic. Before a pay-per-view, there is something special about these events that should be cherished. The ability to binge watch a limitless quantity of content whenever you choose, both on traditional television and with streaming services, can produce a high that is comparable to that produced by illegal narcotics. It is not a finding that should come as much of a shock to learn that between the years 2020 and 2022, a staggering increase occurred in the amount of time that people spend each week streaming content online. Psychologists are concerned that this could lead to an addiction to our preferred television program. The modern world is a never-ending source of digital temptations, particularly since the invention of the smartphone, which acquired global appeal with the release of the first Apple iPhone in 2007. In particular, since the advent of the smartphone, the modern world is a never-ending source of digital temptations. If you ever find yourself making fun of a friend who can't put down their phone, or if you admit to checking each and every notification that appears on your screen, know that you're not the only one in either situation. You will have time for whatever it is that you want to do, despite the fact that a significant portion of the population of the United States jokes about not having enough time for anything. As a result of the startling increase in our society's demand for consumption as well as its excessive consumption, modern humans are devoting an increasing amount of their time to shopping. The average American today buys a new article of clothing once every 5 days, and the amount of textile trash we produce as a result of shopping is astounding, higher than what it was in 1960. And on a daily basis, savoring a moment of pleasure while being aware that such experiences are something to be treasured because they do not occur very frequently in today's world has a certain sweetness to it and an almost meditative quality to it as well. If you put an end to the things that distract you and simply be, you are acting in a rebellious manner. Even while the most majority of us are unable to meditate for extended periods of time and may have difficulty doing so for even a few minutes at a time, it is ultimately up to you to decide when you have reached your limit. If you feel as though you may be battling with an addiction, please get treatment from a mental health professional, and if you discovered something that helps, please share it with us in the comments. Your words may make a great difference to someone who is struggling. If you found something that helps, please share it with us in the comments. Your words could make a big difference to someone who is struggling. Addiction to high is a very genuine problem that should not make anyone feel ashamed. Seek the assistance of a mental health expert as soon as possible if you have any suspicions that you may be battling an addiction. Thank you for joining this profound quest to break free from the addiction of overconsumption. Embrace a life guided by purpose and mindfulness, creating meaningful connections, cherishing experiences, and sharing love. You have the power to make a difference in your life and the world. Until next time, stay mindful, stay fulfilled, and live a life that truly matters. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more engaging content. Until next time, stay mindful and stay curious.